Hey, you guys, and welcome to American Culture. I'm going to try to make this quick because I just got home and I need to take my dog out for a walk. But today is day 3 of my transformation. And just like Jesus was resurrected from the dead on the third day, it seems as though something like that might have happened to myself. You see, yesterday I came out and I said, you guys, I have some lustful things that I'm dealing with, which is hard to do, and especially to strangers, even to people that you know. Like I am battling these things. I go back and forth and I don't want to do them. But there was something about that was very releasing. Like I said, the cure to lust, the cure for this void that's created when we don't have, what we desire, is to actually find fulfillment. And God said fulfillment is seeking Him, i.e., seeking being the highest version of myself, which is what He created me to be. And so today, when I got to work, I said, I'm going to exercise, and I did. And I started to, I do Grow with Joe. And I started to do it, and I was like, you know what? Just gonna move. That's pretty much it. And I thought to myself, I think I said it out loud, I'm not quite sure, but I thought to myself, I said, Joe knows me. She knows that it's a good thing that I'm just here. And I started to reflect on that later after I had thought everything that I'm about to tell you guys. And I realized that was the first time in my life I had ever felt just accepted as myself. I had always been in a position where it seemed as though I had to show up in somebody else's life, play whatever character they wanted me to play, or else I would be rejected. Say, for example, if I was to go exercise with a friend of mine and they were doing a routine, they'd want me to follow that routine. I was always around people who would get really upset if I didn't want to do what they wanted to do. Never really had people who just kind of accepted me for being me. So I was like, whoa, that's a change. How did this all come to be, you guys? How did I get on this thought process that I'm finally in the flow of being accepted and being able to be who I am? It's because I realized that I had been living in a state of I want, but not I have. And so everything I did had to reflect that. And I told you guys yesterday, I started seeing this like version of myself that was the princess of things. It was very well put together, that was living that life. And, being on board with the Lord, you get to touch that. And then falling out of the grace period, it's like, oh, it's away. And I really wanted that. And so I realized that I can't constantly say I want to be that person, because that I want to state of being is going to persist. The I want is going to persist, and I'm going to have to do things that will continue to create a I want to as opposed to I have to. For example, I was like, I want to go on a diet because that future version of myself, is in really good shape. There's no health issues, things like that. And the first thing I thought about was I really want a hamburger now. Maybe some ice cream, chocolate, I need a cookie. And it suddenly hit me that the reason why I suddenly now want all these foods that help to keep me fat is because I say I want to go on a diet. So that's me saying that I am in a state of wanting to go on a diet. So I have to continue to do things that keep on making me want to go on a diet. Is it making sense how when you try to take one step forward, it's like there's 1,000 things that come up to tell you where you are, because that one thing that you want, you're telling yourself it's in a state of being. So I said, you know what? I don't want to go on a diet. I am changing my life. And immediately I decided to give myself some grace. I wasn't going to want anymore. I had a desire for a hamburger. I was going to go get a hamburger. But what I also did was I came back and I exercised. I got the weights out. I moved and grooved. I shaked and baked. And I finally admitted that, you know what? I'm allowing myself to be that higher version of me. I'm allowing myself to be the woman that God created me to be. I finally got it under control, or understanding that I can be autonomous, that I can give myself grace, I can give myself kindness, I can direct all of the love and care and compassion that I was giving to others to myself first, and I can be the beacon that I was meant to be. And so like I said, I finally gave myself permission to not want to be that future version of me, but actually be that future version of me. And finally, at the end of the day, you guys, I got to the point to where I said, the future me and the present me would be doing the exact same thing that I'm doing right now. And that's when I realized I had made it. Yeah, I had made it. I am the key that I was looking for. It was not being done with all these other things. It was just having the level of knowledge that's necessary for me to get my footing in the next door. You see, the thing is, God satisfies through cultivation. It's a growth process that takes place in layers. The ego or the earthly satisfaction doesn't require anything but your attention. And so when I was living in that state of I want, I could easily satisfy myself by giving myself to attention to something that I could, consume that would put me in a happy state of being. But it just doesn't work like that with the things of God. It's like planting a seed and having to cultivate and grow and get to enjoy the process and learn about what you're doing. And that's when it's the actual growing and cultivating process that brings overall satisfaction. It's learning more so that you can do more. It's not the instant gratification that this modern world has us thinking that we need. So yeah, I've just kind of switched over to giving that kind of grace, that it's going to take patience and going to take time to satisfy myself, that I actually am growing and learning and going from there. So yeah, the future version of me, that godlike version of me, is not on a diet, but they're changing the way that they eat. And I'm doing that myself. After the 10 days of not eating meat, you guys, guess what? I don't like it. I tried putting it back in my body and it just didn't make me feel good. So yeah, I'm working on getting rid of that, and I'm just happy to have finally gotten there to the promised land. I don't know if it's a destination. I think the promised land is you just being you. Have a blessed day, you guys.